our defense budget is pretty gigantic. It's $1 trillion, but the interest that we owe on the debt is now higher than the defense budget, over $1 trillion and growing. This is not sustainable. So we have to do something about that, or the country's going to go bankrupt. So that's an essential thing too. Yeah, so that's why we need the Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE. That's on a brass plaque on a desk. It's going to be amazing. So, it's exactly as people were saying. It's just like it's common sense stuff, and America really just needs to remain the land of opportunity, the land where your success is a function of how hard you work and your talent. Like if you're talented and hardworking, that should be the only thing that determines whether you're successful. That's it. And America is also supposed to be the land of freedom. That means personal freedom. Like the government should not be imposing all these rules on people, and it's like yeah. So government overreach is not cool.
Not sure what happened to the audio on that one. I'm back here from Dubai, and sometimes it is a bit tricky to get all your stuff working again. And
how much influences the media? I mean, it's crazy how you'll see like with it, like in fact I
boom. Oh, all right, there you go. Sometimes it's challenging to get all your stuff working again the right way. For some reason, my one browser wasn't recognizing something, and my other browser was, and so I decided, well, let me just run it on this one, and then there we go. But that was the great Elon Musk. Of course, Elon has gotten his department. I mean, he has a whole department, the Department of Government Efficiency. You know him. Mr. 69 420, he pumped the stock one time to 420 just because I think his girlfriend liked smoking the 420 or whatever. I mean, that appeared to be how it is or whatever. And then 69 is 69. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's a really funny guy. So DOGE, his favorite cryptocurrency of all time. I always call it the doggy, DOGE, doggy coin. The Dogecoin, as other people call it, it will always be the doggy coin to me. Of course, you have the dog flying on the rocket ship and everything else. But the Department of Government Efficiency is a real thing. And these guys, him and Vivek, are going to cut government spending. And I am so excited about this. I can't even tell you guys. I mean, this is what it's all about right here. And I'll tell you this, and we're going to talk about the cabinet picks in a minute. To me, it looks like a pretty pro-war cabinet, to be completely frank with you. But especially FEMA. You're right. I forgot. We got to shut down FEMA. How could I forget FEMA with their FEMA camps that nobody talks about? That they built those FEMA camps for us. We're supposed to be in those FEMA camps. If Hillary had won, I mean, gosh knows. And then, of course, with the COVID and everything else, I mean, just craziness, just pure pandemonium. We've been dodging bullets. So, yeah, but the DOGE, the doggy, I mean, it's like, this is the stuff you dream about right here. This is the stuff that will make America great again. And the fact that you have Vivek and Elon Musk teaming up for this is just absolutely, it's crazy. I put out a post about it last night as I was getting in. Of course, my jet lag coming this way is not as bad as going that way, man. That was rough. That was really rough. Let's see, here it is right here. Well, Vivek withdrew. So I just said Trump just announced that the great Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will head the Department of Government Efficiency. The potential that Elon will Twitter the federal government has everyone excited. The news sends Elon's favorite cryptocurrency, doggy, flying. And then, of course, Vivek responded, said they're not going to be gentle about it. And he withdrew. Vivek withdrew from being considered for J.D. Vance's empty Senate seat in Ohio after Trump appoints him to the Department of Government Efficiency. So a lot of interesting things that you have going on here, especially with these seats that I would also like to talk about. Of course, this is my little video. I think we're going to be doing more of these. This caliber of
Bitcoin's going to hit 180,000 this time. We got this made in the shade, man. I'm here in Dubai again. Please, this is going to be an amazing run. This will be the biggest run we've ever had. I just can't even wait.
Yeah, so that's the problem with this on this browser. The audio doesn't come through nice, so I don't know. Anyway, I'll get it fixed. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, you also have who do you think is training better? Jake Paul training or Mike Tyson? I kind of think Mike Tyson could beat his butt, but who knows? So with these seats, it's pretty interesting because, of course, Marco Rubio, his seat in Florida, Trump for prosperity. I absolutely agree. I've often said that because everyone says Trump leads by strength, and it's peace through strength. But actually, Trump wasn't really a peace through strength guy. He was a peace through prosperity guy. Peace through prosperity. Because it's an amazing thing. When guys are making a ton of money, they don't have time to go blow each other up. They are they running around, they're making a bunch of money. They want to have kids. They get a nice pretty wife or 2 or 3 or whatever their thing is. And they want to have a bunch of kids. They want to have they want to leave a legacy behind. Blowing up things is not really a natural human want or need. The natural human want and needs, no matter where you go in the world, you want prosperity, you want safety, you want a family, you want safety for that family, and you want to be able to leave that family with safety and prosperity for your future generations. And no matter where you go in the world, all around the world, that's what everybody wants. Peace through prosperity. It's not that popular of it should be popular, but that is really how Trump leads the way. If everyone's making a bunch of money, then they're peaceful, and it's a good statement. So it's a good thing. So, so what we have going on here? Okay, so Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, seems a little, I don't know, it seems a little funny to me, to be honest. I mean, whatever, I get to say whatever I want, right? I get on the show and I get to say whatever. But to me, I mean, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, like really? But then you realize that they have Laura Trump lined up to take the Senate seat in Florida. And then it all starts to make more sense. You say, oh, okay. So you move Marco Rubio in for Secretary of State. And then you have the seat open. And then Marco Rubio doesn't really have to stay Senator of State. I mean, Trump, he's like, I won't say, how his style is. You're fired, you're in and then you're fired. That's how he is. So then you can fire Marco Rubio. Sorry. And Laura Trump still has the Senate seat. And that Senate seat is in Trump hands. Marco Rubio, of course, Robot Marco or whatever. I mean, they went back and forth in the few years ago. So that was pretty interesting. As I started to put that together, I said, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Some of the other picks are Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Defense. I think I could go either way. I mean, I'm not a big Noam fan, but whatever. I think she'll probably do fine. I mean, you couldn't do much worse than what we've had. I mean, we've had nothing. Let's see, what are the other picks? Nobody really that I've been jumping up and down about except Elon and Vivek. But guys, that might be all we need. Like, that might be all we need. You know what I mean? Cabinet picks Trump. Okay. Who's running? Who's on the list? Here we go, right here. Boom, boom, boom. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I mean, man, that is to me, that's just a real funny one. I mean, Marco's one of those guys. He's come out, Trump and blah blah blah, whatever, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Secretary of State. The Republican Florida senator is seen as a foreign policy hawk. He's tough on China and Iran. His selection to serve as Trump's top diplomat completes a drastic turnaround from 2016, where the two were fierce rivals in a GOP presidential primary. Rubio was also in consideration for Trump's running mate before he selected J.D. Vance. Environmental Protection Agency Director picked Lee Zeldin. Now, many of you might know Lee. He's from New York. He ran, I think, for governor, right? Yeah. Trump's selection to lead the EPA is Zeldin. Now, of course, I think we should just close all these agencies. So it's all, I don't know. I think we're going to have to go in steps, okay? We should just close all of them. Close them. But anyway, Trump's selection to lead the EPA is Zeldin, a Republican former New York congressman and gubernatorial candidate who was an outspoken defender of the 45th president during his time, his first impeachment trial in 2020. Trump mentioned Zeldin's legal background, saying he will likely lean on the EPA to roll back environmental regulations. United Nations Ambassador pick Elisa Stefani, House GOP conference chair, who just won her 5th term representing an upstate New York district. Stefanik has limited potential diplomatic experience, but has been an outspoken critic of the United Nations and a staunch ally of Israel. I mean, she's basically a war hawk. She wants war with Iran. All these people really want war with Iran. And I don't know how we're going to get out of war with Iran, to be totally frank with you. I don't want war with Iran. Most of the world doesn't want war with Iran. This cabinet that we have so far, these guys, they want war with Iran. So we'll see. I mentioned Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. Noem, Republican, who has served as the South Dakota governor since 2019, is a loyal Trump ally and would help oversee the immigration crackdown in a second term. She was also in consideration for Trump's running mate before. Until early excerpts of her book revealed that she killed her hunting dog 20 years ago, which was kind of I don't know why she put that in there. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee is the biggest Zionist you ever met. I mean, nothing against the guy. I mean, I think most of these guys are thinking they're doing the right thing. I have had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and he says, well, I don't really support what Israel killing all these people either, but I just support them because of the Bible. I hear you, man. Bible has been twisted and turned and everything else. The Israel over there that started by these bankers is not the same Israel, guys. It's not the same. Okay, but anyway, Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, the former Arkansas governor from 1996 to 2007, was selected for a major diplomatic role amid heightened tensions in the Middle East. Huckabee has never held a diplomatic post previously, but has at times weighed in on the war in Gaza, including when he told News Nation that he did not see a reason to support an Israeli-Hamas ceasefire, and that the only way to end the war would be to eradicate the terrorist group. Trump, of course, has urged Israel to finish the problem, quote unquote, in the fight against Hamas following the October 2023 attacks. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, obviously, it's been going on for a lot more than that. CIA Director John Ratcliffe, of course, we were all salivating to have an outsider, kind of an outsider anyway, like Kash Patel come in, who was promised to, first thing he does, drop the Epstein list, open up the JFK files, all this other stuff. Unfortunately, Trump decided not to go with someone like that, and he went with someone who's never going to do any of that stuff. I would say a company man, agency man, a former DNI director. Ratcliffe, the former head of the intelligence in the last Trump administration, was selected to lead the CIA. He previously served as congressman from Texas. And Trump, in a statement, called him a warrior of truth and honesty with the American public. Ratcliffe has served as a member of Trump's impeachment team during the Democrats' effort to block the president-elect from office. Again, I don't think we're going to see anything closing down with John Ratcliffe. He's, he can't really be in these positions and not be deep state. I mean, it just is what it is, guys. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. A lot of guys are pretty happy about this. Again, I think it's steps in the right direction. Okay. Again, he's a staunch Zionist. He really sees the future of Americanism and Zionism intertwined, which, Jewish population in the U.S. is like 2%. So it doesn't really represent most of us. Anyway, Hegseth served as, he's a very impressive guy. Hegseth served as an infantry captain in the U.S. Army National Guard and did tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, earning 2 Bronze Stars. He is currently the co-host Fox and Friends Weekend. Trump has pledged to fire generals involved in the 2021 Afghanistan withdrawal to eliminate woke initiatives that focus on diversity and equity in the military. The choice of Hegseth came as a surprise, even to some Trump allies, as he was not among the names considered in running for the job. It was a surprise for me, too. Going from TV to that, I don't know. Trump. But here's the thing about it. Nobody that Trump picks they may not even be there for 3 weeks. That's, he hires and fires. That's his style of management. Defense Secretary, I just said that, right? Defense Secretary, yeah. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. This is one of the first ones I think you picked. Wiles has spent 2 years co-running Trump's campaign and is a well-respected as a political operative. Becomes the first woman to serve as a White House Chief of Staff. Sorry, guys. Those 15-hour trips to Dubai, they'll do it to you. Wiles, among the people Trump thanked for after his 2024 election, was largely a behind-the-scenes figure during his run. She also worked for Senator Rick Scott, who, of course, are trying to really force the rhinos in the Senate to pick Senator Rick Scott and not a rhino. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, that was his deputy director during the President Reagan's 1980 campaign. She also worked for Rick Scott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and was the deputy director during former Reagan's 1980 campaign. Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. Another war hawk here. Miller was one of Trump's closest advisors during his first term and was an architect of policies like the ban on travel from several Muslim-majority countries and family separation, especially the efforts in Trump's immigration crackdown. Border Czar Tom Homan, a former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director. Homan was named Trump's border czar, tasked with cracking down on immigration and overseeing the southern border and the northern border, all maritime and aviation security, according to a statement from the president-elect. Homan said he will crank up workplace raids as a way to address labor and sex trafficking, and will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats for deportation as a border czar. He was an early proponent of zero tolerance policy that separated more than 4,000. I'm kind of reading some of this stuff, so they're a little bit. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Army veteran who was the first Green Beret elected to Congress, will serve as Trump's national security official, leaving the White House after representing Florida since 2019. The Republican congressman was called on Europe to do more to support Ukraine and for the U.S. to be more stringent with its support, aligning with a key foreign policy goal of the president-elect. He has been a staunch critic of Biden administration. White House counsel Bill McGinley will return to the White House under Trump as counsel. McGinley was cabinet secretary during the first administration and has also served as general counsel at the United Nations Senatorial Committee. Trump, in a statement, called him a smart, tenacious lawyer who will help me advance the America First agenda while fighting for election. Middle East envoy Stephen Witkoff. Witkoff is a New York businessman. He will serve as special envoy to the Middle East. A role that Trump said in a statement will involve him being the voice of peace. He's a longtime friend of the president-elect, is known for the real estate tycoon, and is the chairman and CEO of Witkoff. Department of Government Efficiency, the big one, guys, the one that makes all the everything go here, or hands out the pink slips, which we need to hand out a lot of pink slips. Trump announced that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Trump announced that Musk, a billionaire backer, and Ramaswamy, a former primary rival who endorsed Trump earlier this year, would lead the effort to slash government spending and regulation. They are expected to conclude their work by July 4, 2026, just a few months before the midterm elections. Wow. I didn't know about that. Conclude their work. Trump said the effort would partner with the Office of Management and Budget, but would provide guidance from outside government. Musk, in particular, has extensive financial holdings with government contractors that could complement an official job. Anyway, it's big, guys. It's big news. I mean, so he's setting up the cabinet. The steel was on, of course. You know, you've probably seen they had trucks of stuff being delivered, and really, Elon Musk and the guys, they were able to stop all this by using. Hold on, I gotta make sure this is. They were able to stop all this by really using X. So pretty interesting. I have the market report with Matt Dixon.
And lower highs on corresponding RSI. And RSI. Morning, Bruce. Morning, Impact Money viewers. So really good to have you over here for a few days in Dubai, Bruce, and trust you arrived back safely. So I'm recording today. I've got a busy day ahead, but it's been obviously absolutely groundbreaking, amazing run that we've had in crypto. And as we mentioned on the last show, we were expecting a bit of a pullback, and I think that's underway. So what I'm going to do is cover quite a few assets, no particular order. I'm just going to go down the assets as they appear on my screen. So I'm starting off with the pound, and we did expect, I mean, we can even see very clearly here that we had some regular bearish divergence where we got higher highs on the price and lower highs on corresponding RSI, and RSI was actually overbought as well. So it was telling us that the pound was going to sell off, and that's precisely what's happened. Percentage terms, it's quite a big sell-off. I mean, from the pound, I don't know what we're talking here, a good 5%, I guess. This was some kind of corrective move to the upside, so I'm expecting further downside for the pound. The UK economy is not in the best state of health. The US economy is still firing on nearly all cylinders, looking pretty healthy, and they're in an interest rate cutting cycle. So that's why we're seeing the pound, the decline of the pound here. And as you know, long term, I won't go into the long term here, but I'm actually expecting the dollar to flip the pound long term. So we can actually see here, just when I've scrolled out a bit, we had, well, I'll actually scroll out further just to show you really where we came from. I wasn't going to do this, but I think it's quite important because we mentioned this on a show a year ago now, that the pound, at the time, it reached 103 against the dollar. The cable rate was 103. I said that at some point, whilst we expect a substantial recovery in the form of a correction, that's an ABC. So this isn't an impulse higher. This is a correction. So for example, this wave up here is overlapped by this wave down here. That tells us this is correction. Same here, basically. This move up to here, the W was overlapped by the move down here. So there's a lot of overlap, and it's basically probably some kind of zigzag correction. So a correction means it's against the trend. And so we expect a substantial movement to the downside. And I do think that the dollar will flip the pound, so that basically, traditionally, there's always been more than a dollar to the pound, but it's going to be the dollar is going to become the stronger of the two. So we're going to see massive dollar strength in the future, and that's probably aligns possibly with crisis of some sort, whether it be macroeconomic or geopolitical. Hard to say at the moment, but something is going to do it. The charts are telling us, and it's already begun, I think. So we moved up in the Y wave to exactly 50% of the W wave, which, although 50% isn't an actual Fibonacci number, it is one that's often used as a regular retracement by people who adhere to the Fibonacci relationships. So I think it was a really good potential turning point. And as I say, we did get that perfect regular bearish divergence at that point and told us to sell. So that's the pound, looking as though, although we might get corrections to the upside, there'll be just further opportunities, I think, to sell the pound and probably buy the dollar. So as I said, we're just going to go through in order, no particular order. I mean, I could do a much better order than this, but as they're listed, we'll look at Bitcoin next. So Bitcoin, we can see again, we had some, and I'll scroll back out on this to show us where we are currently. So we reached amazing new all-time highs. We surpassed that 73,000 massively. We jumped up to almost 90,000, I think. Let me just see what the actual level was. The high, 89,940. So within a whisker of 90,000. We've turned down a little bit, and bear in mind here, we have got some regular bearish divergence, which is telling us that basically with higher highs on price and lower highs on RSI, it's only fractional lower highs on RSI. So it's just mild regular bearish divergence, but nevertheless, there's bearish divergence there in place, telling us that price is likely to push lower, which is precisely what it's done. So from that nearly 90,000, we're now in 86,000. Potential for lower because, as I say, got the regular bearish divergence in place, and longer term, with potentially still, when the chart fills out, still potentially this is even if it's an impulse higher. So even if we count it from here, this is an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've not written the labels in, but if it's an impulse, we would still expect some kind of correction along the way. The markets never move exactly in a straight line, so you'd expect some kind of correction along the way, and I think that's what we're seeing just at the moment. So we may possibly correct a little bit lower, but it's not an easy call right now. There's a lot of positives in the market. Obviously, the Trump pump is still very much part of the market. It's been widely acclaimed by the market that Trump is in and going to be positive crypto. We've got this interest rate reducing cycle that we're in now, and we've had a 50 basis point cut. Last one was a 25 basis point cut. We may well get another 25 basis point cut as they normalize interest rates and try to ensure that we maintain some reasonable employment figures, which at the moment is reasonably good, but we are beginning to see unemployment ticking higher in the US, and that's actually a constituent of the Psalm rule, which is telling us that potentially recession's around the corner, because we got that reading basically unemployment ticking higher, which is a warning sign that the economy is beginning to show signs of slowing. ADA, the next one, has been a major beneficiary really of this Trump pump. We can see the massive green candles here, but potentially, again, it looks like to me, if you look at this, the A wave is made up of 3 waves higher. We can see it, 3 basically A, B, C for 3 waves higher. The B wave is an A, B, C for 3 waves down. And then the C wave is normally made up of 5 waves to the upside. Now, whether that 5 waves is absolutely complete, I'm not sure, but that is what's known as a flat correction. Bear in mind, a correction is a move against the trend. And so potentially we've got a move to come all the way down to go below the start of this A here. So below this point here. So potentially we do have a lot lower to come for ADA, for Cardano, even though it had this massive pump. And bear in mind also, we have had this hidden bearish divergence in this case, which is telling us of a continuation of this downward trend in price. So even the peak we had the other day was still a move down, an actual downward trend in price. So hidden bearish divergence tells you that there's going to be a continuation of the downward trend. And basically, according to the Elliott wave count and the corrective count here, we would expect to move down to new lows. So I think that we may be due a fairly substantial correction in the markets. Don't bet on it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but just be aware when you're setting your risk reward on trades. This for me was a good sell opportunity with risk to break the 2.618 extension here. So that's where I'd have my stop loss just above there and potential substantial downside. So that's ADA. As I say, I think we've got to be very, very careful. This may actually just be a 4th wave. We may get a final push up in a 5th. So you've just got to be very, very cautious in all markets. Interestingly, we had Warren Buffett come out. He's actually cashing in more and more of his stock holdings and holding cash. Clearly, he sees something ahead, which is worrisome. And don't forget, he's one of the most successful investors of all time. And if he's seeing something worrisome in the market, then maybe we should take note of that. Because I notice all the retail players are jumping on saying we're in the bull run, etc., etc. That may be the case. It could be a bit of a blow off top. Who knows? We could have higher to go. But Warren Buffett always tends to move ahead of the market extremes. So as he said, when there's blood in the streets, that's the time to buy. But also when there's massive euphoria and excitement in the markets, that's possibly the time to sell. And that's what he's doing right now. So maybe we should take note. Ethereum is another one that's had a great run. Again, we can see very, very typical here. Looks like, to me, some kind of A wave up. Looks like a B wave sideways move. I mean, I think this is a triangle. So I'll just draw the triangle on for you to see. If I can just find out, there it is. Just have to get the triangle that I'm looking for. A, B, C, D, E. So basically, I've had an A wave up there. So the triangle starts from there. I think we've got an A, a B, a C, a D, and an E. Now, just think about that.